Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to let everyone know we're just waiting just a few minutes. Minister is on her way. She's almost here. And as soon as she gets here, we will begin our ceremony. Our honoree is waiting graciously and patiently. And so we would like, as she enters and she is crowned, if you all could give a resounding fanfare. We know how to do that at the ministry, don't we? All right, we are here to celebrate an absolutely fantastic public servant and the officer of the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training. Nobody does it like we do. And so we are going to make sure that she is greeted. If those some persons that are sitting, that are standing, if you'd like to come and join us downstairs in some of these seats, we would love to have you join us in the rotunda, in the foyer. Thank you so much. So we're waiting just a few minutes for the minister. And as we wait, please enjoy the rhythmic sounds of the Government High School Pop Band.
Where I was born, where things were peaceful, remote and blissful, and equal work for small rewards. I remember, yes I remember, when fun was playing in the yard. We used to run and play and jump around all day. We used to jump and prance and do the jumping dance, pick up the mile weed and climb the diddly tree and share with everyone around, around and around and around and around and around and around and around. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Teach them how to stay in school, live by the golden rule. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Teach them how to stay in school, live by the golden rule. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. I remember, I still remember, when all the neighbors were your friends. Didn't need to lock your door when you went to the store. You could walk from end to end. Do you remember? I still remember when fun was playing in the yard. What happened to those days? Those good old happy days. We need to bring them back. It's time to bridge the gap. Everything will be alright if we stop the fight. Let's stop and turn this thing around, to the dance the other night. Everybody was there. I say over and over and over again, this place is gonna be a drag. I say over and over and over again, this place is gonna be a drag. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hey. All them girls in town for, I saw the prettiest boy in this world. I said, why don't you come over and talk to me and be my boy? I said, why don't you come over and talk to me and be my Now all my life been smoking, and all my life that's just about it. I would try over and over and over and over again. I would try over and over and over and over again. Be my boy. Ooh, 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 ooh. All them girls.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to begin. Thank you all so much for joining us. This morning, we celebrate a lady of excellence. And so I want you to join us. All right, so in just a few minutes, our honoree is going to enter the auditorium. So I want everybody to stand and give a resounding welcome to the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training's Officer of the Year. And as she enters, she will be crowned by the very first Ministry of Education's Officer of the Year, in the person of the very familiar Mrs. Deborah Pierce. She was the Officer of the Year in 2002 to 2003. She was the very first, and she will crown our current Officer of the Year as she enters. All right, Ms. Pierce. She has worn it well over the years, you would agree. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Let us welcome Mrs. Derrelle Barnett. Isn't she lovely? Our Officer of the Year. Turn to the audience. All right. And she will now, all right, she is now at her throne. And just before you sit, Mrs. Barnett, I would like to invite everyone to please stand at attention for the singing of our national anthem, which will be led by the Government High School Pop Band.
Your head to the rising march on to glory, your bright banners waving high. See how the world mocks the manner of your bearing, pledged to excel through love and unity, pressing onward, march together to a common lofty goal, steady sunward, though the weather hide the wide and treacherous shore. Lift up your head to the rising sun, Bahamaland, till the road you trot lead unto your cause. March on, Bahamaland.
Let's give another round of applause to Miss Annalise Simon of the Government High School Pop Band. You may be seated. Here's to a lady so worthy of praise. Here's to a lady always. Here's to the excellence that shines through her work and the joy she brings to our lives. Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Ambrista, the Minister, will be here shortly, and we will greet her when she arrives. But Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Ambrista, Director of Education, Mrs. Dominique McCartney Russell, Undersecretary, Miss Sonia Culmer, our Deputy Permanent Secretaries, our Deputy Directors of Education, Assistant Directors of Education, to the family of Mrs. Derrelle Barnett, including her father, Mr. Howard Newbold, who is no stranger to any of us, and her lovely daughter, Reagan, her lovely daughter Reagan, former Permanent Secretary, retired Permanent Secretary, and former chairperson of the National Scholarship Committee, Mrs. Willa Mae Salke, and to the staff of the very proud staff of the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, led by Deputy Permanent Secretary Mrs. Shalene Burrows, who's going to have plenty Baptist moments this morning because she's going to be here. Yes, we're going to get her a hanky so she can wave at the appropriate times. And to all of you, staff of the great Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, good morning. Today is a celebration. We celebrate one of our own, our hardworking civil servants. It's so lovely to gather here in celebration. Please welcome our minister. Good morning, Minister. And it is so good to celebrate one of our own and to give thanks. We often say thank you, but this is one of those opportunities where we get to see someone getting tangible expressions of gratitude for the very, very, very hard work that she does. And she's just a representative of all of us hardworking persons that toil day and night to make the Ministry of Education and Science and Technical and Vocational Training what it is. And so let us give thanks both for her, for this day, and for the work that we do with an opening prayer led by Mr. Lavin Bowe of the Scholarship Section. Mr. Bowe, please stand.
I'd like to invite everyone to bow their heads as we pray. Father in heaven, thank you for this opportunity to gather, to recognize your blessing on our Employee of the Year, Mrs. Derrelle Barnett. Thank you for her example as an employee worthy of recognition. Thank you for those who support her, her family, the staff of the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, and the entire ministry staff. We ask your blessing on these proceedings and all who are gathered here today. We will always be mindful that what is happening here today is only because of your grace and mercy towards us. We are indeed grateful. Continue to be with us all and bless us all. In Jesus' name, amen.
You may be seated. Thank you, Mr. Bowe. And coming now to officially welcome us and say a little about this occasion, please welcome the chairperson of the Public Service Week Committee, Assistant Director of Education, Mr. Dwayne Higgins.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We are celebrating a really stellar accomplishment, but I want us to realize that our lives are like ripples in the sands of time. And there's a very popular song. If I had the courage, I would have sung it, but that's a few years removed. But the song, the lyrics go, give me one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be, when all of my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to you. And of course, we want to welcome all of you. We recognize our Honorable Minister, Glenys Anna Martin, our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Umbrister, our U.S. Culmer. I'm not sure if Ms. Anderson is here. Our Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Director of Education, yes ma'am, Mrs. McCartney Russell, Deputy Directors, Assistant Directors, Ministry of Education, Executive Staff, the officers. We want to also recognize the nominees, the 2023 nominees, those who vied for the prestigious role that Ms. Barnett was able to come out victorious on. They're friends and family members of our honoree, her colleagues, and to all of the members of this ministry. Mrs. Barnett, who we have found to be a stellar example of what a public officer should be. To all of you, I say good morning. I stand on the shoulders of a very hard-working Public Service Week Committee, one who, the subcommittee, who would have organized this aspect of the celebrations. This would be the last event in that series of events to recognize all of what would have happened in 2023 for the Ministry of Education. It is with great pride that we welcome you here because every significant moment deserves a pause, a break, a time for us to really let it all soak in. And this is the moment that we celebrate Ms. Barnett because she exemplifies who we are as a ministry, and for others to see that she is that person who represents us and could be emulated. Mrs. Rule, our chair for this morning, and I serve as co-chairs of the committee. And there is no more prouder moment than we have than right now. and we challenge other supervisors so that this same year in October, we would also have as qualified candidates to vie for the distinguished, the esteemed honor of representing our ministry. And Ms. Barnett has already started making her rounds, and she will show the others of us exactly what road it is to follow. So I welcome you here, and her family, friends, colleagues, and all persons within the Ministry of Education. We salute you today. We welcome you here, and we pray that such occasions will be will be filled with these wonderful opportunities to celebrate our colleagues. So thank you very much. Our occasion of celebration, our Public Officer of the Year, Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Higgins. All right, give me a D. Oh, y'all could do. Y'all. Thank you very much. Director knows how this goes. All right, very good. So all of us will say D, and then those of us that know how it goes will tell us what we got, right? Let's go. Give me a D. Give me an E. Give me an R. Give me an E. Give me an L. Give me an L. Give me an E. What does that spell? What does that spell? Who is she? All right. All right. Derrelle Barnett. You know, I had the pleasure over the last few weeks of going with Mrs. Barnett to all of the various offices here at headquarters and all of our satellite offices, and they were just so absolutely amazed at her grace. She really represented the ministry well. They were happy to meet her. They asked her lots of questions. They gave her a long laundry list of things to present to you, Minister. And so at some point, she'll have an opportunity to do that. And they took their photos. Many of the photos you'll see in the program where she would have visited with so many of you. And I'm sure she will thank you. But on behalf of the committee, I would also like to thank you for your warm welcome of her in all of those spaces, the hugs, making her cry sometimes with just your expressions of love and joy that she is our Officer of the Year. And many of persons would have said, well, so how does one get there? And so we anticipate, Mr. Higgins, there will be a laundry list of nominees in the coming months. All right, let us now enjoy a selection by the Government High School Pop Band, and while they are playing, please also enjoy a presentation of all of those visits. You will see her in action as she would have gone to the various satellite offices on the screens above. So let's enjoy the sounds of the Government High School Pop Band and enjoy the presentations on the screen.
Her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair bustle perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. I know, when I compliment her, she won't believe me. And it's so sad to see that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay, I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls so perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. You know I never ask you to change. If perfect what you're looking for, then just stay the same. So before you ask me, do I look okay? No, I'll say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. Just 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. Just 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. The way you are. The way you are. You're amazing, just the way you are.
All right, were they not fantastic? Let's give another round of applause. And now, coming to pay special tribute to our Officer of the Year are three persons that know her very, very well. And so I'm going to invite them to tell you a little more about our honoree. Let's first welcome Mrs. Shalene Barrows, her very proud supervisor and the Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division. Following her will be Miss Natasha Cunningham from the Evangelism, Leadership, and Serving Opportunity Director at Bahamas Harvest Church. And the proudest father that you will ever meet, Mr. Howard Newballs. Ms. Barrows.
Thank you, Mrs. Rule. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy my heart is full this morning. But I wish to say just a few words about this outstanding officer and a valued colleague. In 2018, there was a need to fill the post of a scholarship officer in the scholarship division. And I did my own vetting. I didn't rely on anyone else. I wanted someone who brought value to the table and who just didn't show up to work. So I called her supervisors and a few of her colleagues, and she came highly recommended. They said that she was an outstanding officer, a stellar person. And today I am not disappointed. But what sold me on Mrs. Barnett is her radiant personality, her strong work ethics, and her background as a counselor who was able to relate to others and to guide them through. Derrelle is a visionary. She is someone who sees possibilities where others see challenges. In 2019, the former chairman of the National Scholarship Advisory Committee, she said, now, Mrs. Burrows, you need to have an employee manual so that when you move up the scene, that is just handed on to others. So I went to Mrs. Barnett and I said, Mrs. Barnett, Mrs. Salke gave us a challenge. And Mrs. Barnett, she took that and she ran with it. So today I am proud to say that because of Mrs. Barnett, we have the first employee manual of the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division. Mrs. Barnett's innovative ideas, her strategic thinking, and her commitment to the vision of the department is admirable. But what makes her truly special is her ability to nurture talent. She is a mentor and a role model to all students. And this morning, I want to say that I actually spoke to a summer student, and this is what the student said. She saw potential in me, and she pushed me to strive for excellence. Mrs. Barnett, your colleagues at the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, we value you as an outstanding colleague. Mr.
Derrelle Barnett, it is a pleasure to watch your journey. It is your passion, your professionalism, your good manners, and your strong advocacy skills that have brought you to this point. Continue to blaze your trail. We are all proud of you.
And so this morning, Ms. Barnett, we want to say we love you and congratulations, and we wish you a successful reign.
How can I come in after that, right? Good morning to all. I am Natasha Cunningham, and I have to stand in the shoes of an awesome leader, Pastor Mario, at Bahamas Harvest Church. They sent congrats on Sunday all the way from China. So I bring greetings on their behalf, and they send their love and said congratulations. So as the Servant Opportunity Director at Bahamas Harvest Church, we just want to say thank you for your dedication and your commitment to serve. Derrelle has one of the highest ranks in our membership at Bahamas Harvest as a 401 laborer. She faithfully served in the family life department, holding those little babies and cuddling them. I remember that so clearly at Bahamas Harvest Church, and Tamara is here to attest to that. We say we rather raise boys and girls than to repair men and women. And today, I celebrate you as you are indeed a woman worth following. Her journey continued in serving when we expanded and relaunched our Harvest Bookstore. She was one of the faithful volunteers and still is. Nobody filled your shoes. We don't have any volunteers in that bookstore. So I say thank you for serving in that capacity. And then as she matured and grew and got married and had children, her passion for small groups led her to be a small group coach, where she was coaching leaders how to lead in their capacity. Derrelle, this Sunday we will recognize you as an Harvest Envoy. That's one of our recognition as our church, where we recognize volunteers for bringing people to church. So we get to celebrate you on Sunday. Hope you bring all these people with you. So I want to say thank you for serving with a spirit of excellence. Many believe that excellence is a destination, but I believe it's a journey. And definitely you were on a journey. You did not arrive here overnight, as some might believe, but today it is evident it's because of your labor. Galatians 6, verse 9, I got to put a scripture in there, that reminds us to not be weary in doing good, for it's in due season we will reap if we faint not. And I believe this is your due season. Do y'all believe that? I want to encourage you to continue on that journey, to be an earth shaker, a history maker, a wall breaker, and a country taker. Continue to serve and touch the lives of the next generation, giving wise counsel as you did with those high schoolers at church getting ready to embark on college. Thank you, girl. On behalf of Bahamas Harvest Church and our pastors, we celebrate you for your accomplishment as Officer of the Year. And we say thank you for having a heart to serve. God bless and congrats.
Good morning. My task this morning is quite simple, which is to offer thanks to all of the wonderful members of the great team here at the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, and to briefly speak a word or two on behalf of the Officer of the Year, who some of you know, and all of you by now would know that she is the daughter of Donna and Howard Newbold. She is married to Ryan Barnett, and of course, they gave us our first granddaughter, who happens to be Reagan. She's here with us this morning. Ryan is battling a flu, and we were trying to get my wife this morning, but this thing that's going around really sort of sidelined her. But I'm here this morning representing the family. The Newbold and Barnett families express our joy, deep and heartfelt appreciation for the skillful planning, the expert handling, and heartwarming efforts and graceful execution seen and felt in the entire process to date. It is said that if you desire the right outcome of an initiative, put it in the hands of a teacher or an educator. And if you wish to remain on the cutting edge, add to the educators an attorney. Because this individual examines all sides, ins and outs, rights and lefts, right and wrong, ups and downs and all around, large and small and in between, good and bad, high and low, advantages and disadvantages, long and short. You got what I'm saying. As such was the case of Minister, the Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, her over-the-shoulder team's Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Brister, and of course our Acting Director, Mrs. Dominique McCartney-Russell, one of my students at C.R. Walker. Every time she walked the corridor, I would say to her, my star teacher. That's right, yes. We are proud of you also. Thank you and your committee, Mr. Dwayne Higgins, Ms. Demetria Roll, Ms. Green, and of course you would see the other names on our program. The staff of the Scholarship Division led by Mrs. Burrows, we've heard already, and her team. Donna and I, along with the Barnett family, express our sincerest gratitude to you. Derrelle, our second daughter and third child, my wife and me, somehow we knew that she would enter a career of service similar to the ones that we chose. Of course, we were both teachers, did more than 30 years each in the teaching profession. Derrelle was always reading while on her way to and from school. Even at home, she chose studying as opposed to sitting around the television and being on the telephone. God has blessed her because there were not few nights we spent in the Asthma Bay at Princess Margaret Hospital with her, and we're thankful for the favor of God on her life. And so, after grades 11 and 12, having spent first 10 grades at St. John's, we managed to send her to St. Andrews for the last 2 years. And then of course, she matriculated to the University of Tampa. And after graduating, back home, working at Stephen Dillard Primary School, then on to Centerville, then Sandilands, and of course, then C.V. Bethel High School, and at the Scholarship Division, as you have heard already, as you know already. Let me close with a quote from one of our former permanent secretaries who served here in the Ministry of Education. And it goes like this: what we want for our children is what we as educators must want for the nation's children. Sarah Seymour, a long time ago, more than 60, 70 years ago, was my grade 1 and 2 teacher at the Orange Creek School in Cat Island. She never gave birth to a child, but able to read, and grade 2 and 3 able to comprehend what they read, and in a lot of instances be able to apply what they were able to read. She treated us as though we were her biological children. In the early 2000, Minister Fitzgerald invited us, a team from the Ministry of Education, to travel to Toronto, Canada. And while we were there for like 7 or 8 days, I came into contact with a lovely lady by the name of Vivian Robinson from Auckland, New Zealand. And then I kind of followed her over a period of time. She was an education psychologist, a distinguished professor, expert in school leadership, and of course, leading in school improvement and school reform. Her thrust at the time was dealing with scaffolding, and the only person I could link her to, well, not the only person, but one of the persons I linked her with was my grade 1 and 2 teacher, Sarah Seymour. I found that with all of the knowledge of Vivian Robinson, I saw in her Sarah Seymour. She just presented in a different way. But Sarah provided the ramp. She provided the scaffolding and the building blocks that basically we needed as children. All of the routines and the inclines that we needed, Sarah provided that. Derrelle, from Stephen Dillard on to Centerville Primary, Sandilands, and C.V. Bethel. And I recall that we would talk after her sessions at school on some days, and she came and she said, you know, I'm working on some programs with the children of the school, and all of those from Mason's Edition all the way down to Southern Recreation, not Southern Recreation Ground, all the way down to the park there on East Street and Wolf Road. Used to be the University of Wolf Road. Yeah. You got Windsor Park. That's right. And that those students, she hooked up with the personnel from Calvary Bible Church, and Mr. Fowler is here to attest to that because he would have been her first principal at Stephen Dillard. And but at the school, she said that she had to work on some projects with the students. Those students who were without fathers in the home, she initiated a program to ensure that they were visiting the school just to work along with those students from that particular neighborhood. And then she said to me that she was looking at another program which she initiated with Doctors Hospital, providing the undergirding of those students, the health concerns of students. And then later on, she was reassigned, of course, to Sandilands Primary. I saw all of this in her, providing those students. And when she would have been at home, the phone would be ringing. And after she left CV Bethel, the phone just kept ringing. And I said, but, 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, but we've got students in the UK, in Canada, in the United States, different in time zones. And she's speaking to them concerning their studies after they would have received the scholarship from the Scholarship Division of the Ministry of Education. And she was basically on the job at all times, working in the interest of students selflessly. Yes, in the words of that permanent secretary, what we want for our children is what we ought to want for the nation's children. Providing the ramps, walk properly in the education sphere. She holding their hands and finding the accomplishments and finding what those students need. We are grateful to you in the Ministry of Education for having recognized her. Thank you very much.
We are indeed grateful. Don't you know a lot more about her now through those tributes? Do you see why she is a lady so worthy of praise this morning? And now, let us continue to enjoy the sounds of the Government High School Pop Band and continue to enjoy our photo presentation.
You never see him barking if the car ain't moving. You never see people talking about you and they go nowhere. But when you're trying to excel yourself, they got your name everywhere. Don't go back and park, no, no way. The only time you gonna stop barking is when the cars start moving. Don't go back and park, no, no way. The only time you gonna stop barking is when the cars start moving. Trying to figure out exactly what I mean. My friend, listen carefully. Let me explain. See, everything is cool when you go along with the groove. But when you're trying to make a movie, when the cat mad at you. Don't go back and park, no, no way. The only time you gonna stop barking is when the cars are moving. Don't go back and park, no, no way. The only time you gonna stop barking is when the cars are moving. Got it. Come back and dog, mash the road, smash it. Come back and dog, Scully boat, got it. Come back and dog, mash the road, smash it. Don't go back and park, no, no way. The only time we gonna stop again is when the cars are moving. can back. No, no way. The only time we gonna stop again is when the cars start moving.
What talents we have in the halls of our educational institutions. Thank you very much again from Ms. Roll, Principal is always correcting me, the Government High School pop bands. And now, please welcome, to give our keynote address this morning, a minister that really needs no introduction. Her passion for education and her commitment to excellence here at the Ministry of Education is evident for all to see. And so she is coming to speak to us about another lady of excellence. Let's welcome the Honorable Minister of Education, Barnett.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. I want to thank our moderator for excellent management of these proceedings, and also to congratulate the committee on the transformation of this thoroughfare. They've created, just a wonderful atmosphere. I congratulate you, and for the entire celebration in its fullness. I wanted to really begin by, I was sitting there remembering that the history of the Bahamas, it's long, but the purposeful shaping and development happened in or around 1967, where you had a flourishing of democracy. And at that time, there was a thrust to do a number of things to bring up our people who had been marginalized, really. There was only one high school, which was Government High, one public high school, and you had to pay to go. It wasn't free. Other than that, students left school around 14, unless the parents could afford the private school. I think the Catholics and the Anglicans had private schools, maybe the Baptists. I don't know if they went back that far. But that was the beginning of a purposeful shaping of our national development, and it was strategic. You knew what you were trying to achieve. What did you want to achieve? You had to bring up your people quickly. You didn't have 20 years. And so they developed a lot of strategies, particularly in education, which allowed for an acceleration from stopping at 14 to becoming the professionals and the stakeholders in national development. And this is what education, and in fact, everything that we do as a people, particularly even now, 50 years, more than 50 years, 60 plus years later, we are obliged to continue to purposefully, the word the director always uses, intentionally map out the country. We're not participating in a topsy-turvy and whatever buck up go. No way. And so this ministry is critical. And we are meeting in our classrooms a lot of things that are very challenging, and in the community, in the social setting, in the economic setting. So the role of the work of this ministry is even more complex and difficult because of that. But what I have found, I've been here just a little over 2 years, maybe 2.5 years almost. This ministry has some of the finest professionals this nation has ever seen. And they're at all levels. They're in the classroom, they're in the support staff. It's not just the teachers, it's not just the administrators, it's everyone. By and large, this young lady who we are celebrating today is exceptional. She's exceptional. And, she is the daughter of educators. And, educators, they go in the trenches. They're in the trenches. Trust me. They're in the trenches. And they bring with them a level of compassion, commitment, passion, sacrifice that is not seen in every single profession, in many, but not in every single one. Education is unique in this, in its peculiarity. And their daughter followed in those footsteps. What we see that she has produced in the scholarships division is not wage-paying labor. We are seeing someone who has come in understanding the mission and throwing herself behind it and making it happen. This one ain't dollars and cents. This is about love of country, a care for young people, a vision for the future, and wanting to be, a desire to be participatory in achieving the thing I talked about, that we talked about that happened in 1967. I talked about the scholarships division last night. They had a session last night, and she presented. She was outstanding, and all of them did. They were talking about how, telling parents and students how they can access the scholarships thing. And one thing I said about this division, they're very meticulous. They're in a world by themselves. You know, they're unusual. But they're meticulous and focused, laser focused. And so this Mrs. Barnett, Newbold Barnett, is really exemplary of all that anyone who loves this nation would want to see in public service. And so we are so proud that we have pumped it up and raised you up because we celebrate you. You are not invisible. Your church talked about you. Your daddy talked about you. Your colleagues have talked about you. You have shone and you've inspired so many people. You've inspired all of us. And I just want to say to you, congratulations on having a life of service or record of service that has been such that all of us can, without any dispute, raise you up and say that it has been spectacular in its essence and in its strength and its commitment. And I will take my seat now. I only want to say this. In this ministry, we have determined that we are going to do all that we can because we know what we have in the raw material called our children. We know it doesn't matter where that child comes from, what that child don't have, or something we'll never have. We believe that with the right injection and the right formula, that child can be something that even they themselves might not have imagined. This is what our role is. And at the level that Mrs. Barnett works with is at the tertiary level, and in particular, the creme de la creme in achievement and attainment. And really, I can tell you, we've been to the award ceremonies. These young people are just incredible. They are so bright, and they're different. One will be an astrophysicist. The next one have a big afro and a creative artist. The young lady, creative, and she's studying the creative arts. They're diverse, they're excellent, they're wonderful. And this is what we want to see in our nation. And I want to thank you, Mrs. Barnett, for continuing to guide and inspire these young people and the scholarships division on the whole, and their leader, DPS Burroughs, and all of the entire team who is here now in full support. Thank you for the work that you do. But today, we are celebrating this lady, this patriot. We don't call women patriots very much, but we're talking about someone who clearly loves this country, believes in this country, is intentional about what she does to achieve the desired outcome. And this is how we began. This is how we began. We must never forget where it is we've come from, because it will help us understand where we're going. They call it the old landmark. never forget the old landmark. So I thank you for not forgetting that old landmark and taking it to new levels. And that's, we're not saying, we ain't trying to match nobody, but you're taking it to a new level. And we thank you so much. Thank you to all who have joined in this celebration. I know there's a luncheon. Shortly, I won't be able to make the luncheon. But for all those who will be there, let's celebrate this young lady. And I just want to end like I do with my grandson's birthdays. Join with me when we give her the hoorays. Hip, hip, hip! Hip, hip, hip! Hip, hip, hip! Hooray! Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. And now the time has come for us to present Mrs. Newbold Barnett with just a token of our love and affection. And so we invite the lovely Mrs. Newbold Barnett to come. We invite Minister, PS, Director, Undersecretary, to please assist us as the Government High School Pop Band gives us a selection. All right, Minister, I guess you guys can come to the front first. Minister will now present her with a plaque. The plaque reads, Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, presented to Mrs. Derrelle Newbold Barnett, Officer of the Year 2023-2024, in recognition of outstanding public service, presented this 14th day of March 2024. And in addition to that, our Permanent Secretary and our Undersecretary, our Director, and the Deputy Permanent Secretary in charge of scholarships will present her with a luggage set and with each of them. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's 3 a.m. and I'm waiting for the sun. Lost track of the day, man, look at it, ain't no fun. Cell phone in my left hand, TV on my right. My mouth extra dry, cause there ain't no rum inside. Longing for the days, man, I was wild and free. I'll do everything with it, not a care worry. Now it's like I joined the clan of HMB, but I ain't commit no crime, so please let me lose me, let me go. I don't want me inside no more. Hey, lose me, let me go. This is killing me, that's for sure. So let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. Lose me, let me go. I don't want me inside no more.
The Scholarship and Educational Loan Division will present Ms. Barnett. Special token. Members of the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, please come for the presentation.
Let me tell you exactly what I mean. The children stay fighting, they eat up everything. I'm working like a slave while he sits up like a king. Lose me, let me go. I don't want me inside no more. Lose me, let me go. This is killing me, that's for sure. So let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, lose me, let me go. I don't want me inside no more. Lose me, let me go. This is killing me, that's for sure. So let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, lose me. place where I was born, where things were peaceful, remote and blissful, and people work for small rewards. I remember, yes I remember, when fun was playing in the yard. We used to run and play and jump around all day. We used to jump and press and do the jumping dance. Pick up the millipede and climb the dilly tree and share with everyone around. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh, hey. Teach them how to stay in school and fight the goals in. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Teach them how to stay in school and fight the goals in. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Do you remember? I still remember when all the neighbors were your friends.
Public Service Week Committee. Public Service Week Committee.
From end to end. Do you remember? I still remember when fun was playing in the yard. We used to jump and play and run around all day. We used to jump and prance and do the jumping dance. Pick up the mother weed and climb the dilly tree and share with everyone around. Around. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Teach them how to stay in school and find the golden rule. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Bring back the good old days, let the children run and play. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Teach them how to stay in school and find the golden rule. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, oh. Yeah. Every other night, Andrew would call around 8, telling his nice little wife he gotta work late. Hey! But he go to the bar to catch a few with the boys. They dominoes, drinking liquor and make noise. Now Andrew say, man, you gotta be the king of your house. So make up your mind if you gon' be man or a mouse. The bartender shout across the room, if I knew there. Andrew tell the boys to tell him I ain't here. And she say, tell all I ain't there, he better come on down. 'Cause these little children he got, they crying for their pa. He wouldn't like it if I have to come to that bar. Hey! So tell all I ain't here, he better come down. I don't tell no boss, tell no man. Let me make this clear. The next time my wife calls us boss, tell her I ain't here. She say, when man having fun, woman gotta leave him alone. But the wife called her back, she heard his voice over the phone. And she said, tell all I ain't here, he better come on down. Cause these little children he got, they crying for their mom. He wouldn't like it if I have to come to that bar. So tell all I ain't here, he better come now. Tell all I ain't here, he better come on down. Cause these little children he got, they crying for their mom. He wouldn't like it if I have to come to that bar. So tell all I ain't here, he better come now. Not the bar, 2 times. Not the bar, 3 times.
Fantastic. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that was a fitting introduction to the lady of the hour. Let us stand and give a resounding welcome to the podium to our Officer of the Year, Mrs. Derrelle Barnett.
Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. I am extremely overwhelmed at this time. I hope that I can get through my speech. Bear with me. I have a lot to say. Protocol having already been established, it is indeed a pleasure to share this afternoon in celebration with all of you. I am incredibly humbled to be chosen as the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training's Officer of the Year 2023-2024. And I do not take it lightly to be a representative of the hardworking Ministry of Education's employees across the length and breadth of our Bahama Islands. When I started as a guidance counselor on the 1st of September 2008, I could not imagine that my journey would involve this very prestigious by all of my colleagues in the ministry, department and ministry. And I just want to interject here. Sometimes we separate the two, but it was great to have cohesion among the department and the ministry. It is most evident that our ministry is filled with the most hardworking and talented people as we all came together for Public Service Week. It did not matter what department we belonged to, but all that mattered was that we worked together to represent our ministry in the highest regard. And we excelled as winners of the Public Service Float Parade. Most recently, I was given the opportunity to tour the various departments and satellite offices within the Ministry of Education. And I can truly say that it was the most enjoyable experience. I was able to meet colleagues, some for the first time. And in meeting these new colleagues, I also noted that we had some new departments. Did you know that the Ministry of Education had an innovation unit? I did not know. And that unit has been growing, and that unit is making waves. And so in the Ministry of Education, we are definitely making waves. We shared stories of advancements and challenges within our various departments. One of the main challenges that many of our departments face is the lack of human resource, or simply put, people. The ministry has many dedicated and committed staff. However, many persons are retiring or being promoted, which is resulting in many voids and vacancies in numerous areas. To avoid burnout in our staff and to continue to help our nation develop on a global level, we must be intentional about talent acquisition and succession planning for a strong workforce. I have no doubt that we will overcome these challenges, and I will continue to strive toward providing a quality education to our students, which will enable them to compete globally with their counterparts, and most importantly, to help build our nation. I offer a heartfelt thank you to the executive team, Minister Glennis Hannah Martin, Permanent Secretary Lorena Brister, Undersecretary Sonia Culmer, Acting Director Dominique McCartney-Russell, Financial Controller Marie Darling, Deputy Director Julian Anderson, Deputy Permanent Secretaries Ricardo DeVoe, Alexander Carey, Ms. Clotilda Wims, Shillian Burrows, Keishan Bastian, Deputy Directors Charmaine Sinclair, Therese Carey Curry, and Janice Moss, Consultants Ms. Poitier, Mr. Coleman Andrews, especially Mr. Coleman Andrews, who came through with us for the vehicle on the day of the parade, and Ms. Saritha Clark for supporting all of the Office of the Year activities planned by the Public Service and for personally supporting me as Officer of the Year 2023. Your kind words, well wishes, and financial support will forever remain in my heart. Appreciation is also extended to the Selection Committee for choosing me as the representative of the ministry's employees. To the other nominees, Stephanie Culmer, Keva Ferguson, Valerie Gator, and Linda Johnson, you are remarkable professional leaders, and I can honestly say that it was a pleasure to have met you, and I hope that we can build a wonderful working relationship. I would also like to extend a hearty thank you to the best and most dedicated Public Service Officer of the Year committee and subcommittees who have truly made this experience unforgettable. There was never a moment that I did not feel supported or encouraged, and I am deeply moved by your dedication as we celebrated as a ministry. But very special thanks is extended to Mr. Charles Butler, Ms. Hamilton, Mr. Higgins, Mrs. Demetria Roll, and Mrs. Patrice Green, who have all been very gracious and instrumental in walking me through this process. I am forever in your debt. I am grateful to everyone who has always been a part of my journey, and there are many people along the way who have enabled me to put in efforts and make me capable of achieving this award. Each one of you has enabled me to bring the ideas into reality. These are people like Mrs. Deborah Stewart, former principal of Centerville Primary School, Mrs. Missourian Powell, my former supervisor in the Guidance and Counseling Unit, Mrs. Clevette Gibson, current supervisor in the Guidance and Counseling Unit, Ms. Sheena Saunders, Samantha Wells, Mrs. Wilmay Salke, and of course, Deputy Permanent Secretary Shillian Burrows. Mrs. Burrows, I extend my endless gratitude, not only for your support, but for your leadership at the division. Thank you. I met Mrs. Burrows back in 2018 upon being recruited by Mrs. Wendy Smith, the HR officer at CELD at that time. Mrs. Burrows saw that I was willing to learn, and she poured her wealth of knowledge into me without hesitation. It was because of your trust in me that I was able to write the first manual of procedures for the Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, and also giving me the opportunity to work with some of the brightest minds in our country. You have shown me what true leadership is all about, and I am grateful to you as my supervisor and my mentor. I also extend gratitude to the hardworking staff of the Scholarship, the Scholarship Division, and the National Scholarship Advisory Committee, and the All Bahamas Merit Committee, chaired by Attorney Robin Lyons, who was unable to make it today. You believe in the importance of the work that we do, and you have never wavered in your support of me. To the staff of the Scholarship Division, please stand. I could not have won this award without each and every one of you. To our HR team, Ms. McQuay, Mrs. Smith, Ms. Lisa Hepburn, my colleagues, Ms. Danique Butler, who keeps everyone on their toes, Mrs. Denise Forbes, Mrs. Sonia Storr, Mrs. Elvira Davis, Mrs. Latoya Butler, Shadell Ford, Michelle Taylor, Mr. Bradley Dorset, Mr. Lavenbeau, and Ms. Knowles, thank you for always, always, always supporting me. All I have to say is let's, and they respond go, with Ms. Butler grabbing her keys. Ms. Jennifer Grant and Senior Security, Mr. Baron Russell, thank you for always keeping all of us in the office accountable with our health goals. That is important as a team, to keep each other accountable and to be mindful of our health. The hardworking PSSP unit, Dr. Sophia Roll, Mrs. Lynette Rose, Ms. Keandra Grant, it is a pleasure to work with you ladies, and I look forward to a continued positive relationship. Mrs. Hannah, our IT specialist, I cannot function without you. And all other members of the team, you are definitely appreciated. Thank you. Please be seated. To my parents, Donna and Howard Newbold, you have instilled in me Christian values and a spirit of excellence that has now become the foundations of my successes. I love you and I thank you for all of your support. My husband, Ryan, in his absence, he was unable to make it this morning. He's not feeling well. And my baby girl, Reagan, I love you dearly, and I appreciate you so much. You are my greatest supporters and the source of my motivation. To my friends and family members who have been cheering me on since the very beginning, please know that I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And to my church family, Pastors Mario and Erica, in their absence, Ms. Natasha Cunningham, who is here to offer support in their absence, I thank you. Being baptized and becoming a member of Bahamas Harvest Church has been one of the best decisions I have made in my life. And I am grateful for our leaders' decision of answering God's calling on their lives to impact one person at a time. And on that note, I do extend an invitation this Sunday at the 12 o'clock service to all of you. For those of you that do not have a home church, you are definitely welcome at mine. This entire journey was a learning experience for me. And with the success of this award, I am more energized and charged up to take up new challenges and roles to benefit this ministry, my ministry, our ministry, the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training. I thank you.
Well, I don't think there is anything else that need to be said. But there is one last bit of business, and her job has been made so much easier because of the graciousness of our honoree. But I would like to invite Ms. Mel Smith to give our vote of thanks at the close of our ceremony. Ms. Smith?
I'm going to spill a little bit of good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister, protocol would have already been established. I'm going to give a little bit of our house secret. Mrs. Barnett, particularly to me, has taken on the name Doll Baby. And believe it or not, I have given a name for each and every one of you. Yeah, but we'll leave that for back. It's her day. Good afternoon again, everyone. I say a big thank you to everyone for making this event a total success. And then I can have my seat. But too many times the word thank you
becomes mere words and no big deal. But today, as we look around the room, I just want you to look around. Turn to the left, turn to the right, look around. Today, thank you is a big deal. The ambiance and decor of it all speaks volume. And so on behalf of Mrs. Green, who has been on her feet, I believe, from 7 a.m., and the committee members, I call them Johnson and Johnson, Sally and Gwendolyn, they are also about the room, and me. We are the committee of the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training Employee of the Year 2023-24. I love to say it like that. It's a mouthful. We say thank you. Minister, can I have eye contact? Minister, thank you. Thank you. I have air contact, eye contact, I have a contact. Minister, we could not have done it without you. This day was well waited for to be on your schedule. And so we thank you. Thank you so much. To our permanent secretary, thank you for executing, okay? Oh my goodness, you follow orders well. Thank you for executing that approval. We couldn't have done it without you. You saw to it that it was on the budget. And we all know, as the Bible say, money answereth all things. Wow, we are truly a Christian nation. So I say kudos to accounts, the executive committee, to Mr. Thompson, and the communication division. They capture it all, didn't they, as you saw? Didn't they? They capture it all. When they came into the scholarship division, all we saw, like how they say, light, camera, action, all we saw was this, and they were just clicking and clicking and clicking. So we saw today they did an excellent job. And to our administrator, I'm waiting for eye contact too. To our administrator, DPS Burrows. I stopped saying I don't know how you do it because I know. Only because of the grace of God. And so, only because of the grace of God. She may be small in stature, but she's a mighty woman. Thank you. We saw you in action today. Mrs. Barnett is her product. She is her mentor. And so we all, as a result, we salute you too. Let's give her a hand. This division, and we celebrate, we also say thank you to DPS Burrows and the team, the scholarship division team. We have the privilege of working with Mrs. Barnett on a daily basis. We truly don't know how you put up with us. But LaToya, she has not a choice, eh? LaToya saying, man, she ain't got no choice. No choice. When them two get together, everybody take cover. You wouldn't want to see that in action. But Mrs. Barnett, thank you for putting up with us. Where is Mr. Bradley Dorset? Stand up, Mr. Dorset. I think you may want to sit down after I say this. Mr. Dorset is the messenger of the scholarship division. And I can tell you, when Mrs. Barnett became Employee of the Year, Mr. Dorset took on the role of, and I have to pronounce it eloquently, he took on the role of executive, chauffeur, and bodyguard of Miss Barnett. He did it so well.
being the professional that he is. Thank you, Mr. Dorset. I'm telling you. And I mean, he executed that job, Mrs. Roll, especially during that visit, our visit throughout the ministry. And to our judges, is the judges to be known? No, right? No. But to our judges and to those who know our judges, we say thank you for making such a wonderful selection. We say thank you to our judges. You made SELD, Scholarship and Educational Loan Division, the winners. When we stepped through that door, we said we came to win, and that we did, as you can see. In recognition of those on our program today, thank you is in order, beginning with our opening prayer. In all things, as the Word of God says, give thanks. And so thank you, Mr. Bowe. In the capacity as moderator, and she wears many hats, but today in the capacity as moderator, Mrs. Rowe, you did it again. You did it again. Thank you for steering this occasion. Thank you. We all literally felt your celebrated energy of Mrs. Barnett. We felt it. We felt it. And so thank you. Our national anthem. That astounding voice belonged to Annalise Simon of the Government High School Pop Band. I certainly agree with our minister. We have so much talent in this little nation. You, young lady, you're going places. And you have our support at the Ministry of Education, at the Scholarships Division. Just make sure that your BA is 3.0, okay? Welcome and occasion. ADE Higgins, thank you for warmly welcoming us all. Thank you. Musical selection. Again, let's give it up for the Government High School Pop Band. Tribute. Again, thank you, DPS Burroughs and staff of the Scholarship Division. Evangelism Director Natasha Cunningham, we say thank you for your encouraging tribute of Mrs. Barnett and to us all. Father of our crowned honoree, Dad Newbold, we all feel your overwhelming pride and joy. We feel that. And I just can imagine your head is going. And it's okay. It's okay. Yes, because truly, she would not have been here today if it wasn't for you and Mom. Let's give him a hand. Thank you. Our keynote address. Again, thank you, Honorable Minister. We say thank you. Always. Your words are so comforting and so transparent. Thank you. Presentation of gifts. Our ministry officials, we say thank you. Well, I want to be the fly on the wall when she opens those gifts. Don't you? Yeah. I think they are fitting for a crowned, I want to say crown queen. But yeah, crown queen, employee of the year, crown queen. That sounds good. That suits you. We got her response, and we said, thank you for allowing us and giving us this privilege to serve you. And again, I remind us all that the Word of God says, your gift will make room for you. And certainly we can say her gift made room for her. Let's give the Lord a hand. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. As I close our thank you, last but not least, the committee wishes to acknowledge and thank all persons and companies, as you can see it's listed on our booklet, for making this occasion a memorable one. Again, thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Smith. All right, this brings our ceremony for this morning, this afternoon now to a close. All right, let us end with a cheer. Give me a long D. No, this a different one. This the other one. Give me a long D and give me a short D. Now give me a short D. And give me a long E. Now give me a short E. And give me a long R. And give me a short R. Now give me a long E. And give me a short E. Now give me a long L. And give me a short L. Another long L, another short L. And now a long E, a final short E. What does that spell? What does that spell? She is our Officer of the Year. Let us give her a resounding round of applause. Thank you all so much for coming. And just before you leave, we'd like you to support the Bahamas Down Syndrome Association. Buy a sock for $10 at the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Foyer immediately following this ceremony. Thank you all so much.
And one arm around her waist, we having a party.
You once, twice, 3 times a lady, and I love you. Yes, you once, twice, 3 times a lady, and I love you.